You don't have to be bald to be a big-time action star, but you do need to know how to kick serious butt. But this British bad boy is more than rugged good looks, earthly charisma, and a penchant for gunfights, car chases, and snappy one-liners. He's also one of the most bankable modern action stars during a time when cinema is sorely lacking high-octane heroes. So let's show respect to the modern-day macho movie man by counting down the top 10 Jason Statham movies of all time. Number 10. Death Race. If there's one thing Jason Statham's filmography has taught us, it's that he likes to drive fast cars. So it only seems obvious that when he was offered a role in 2008's dystopian action thriller, Death Race, he'd jump at the chance to be involved. But what exactly is this one about? Well, placing us in the, at the time, near future of 2012, this Paul W.S. Anderson directed hit explores a series of combat racing events at the Terminal Island prison. And with it being a dystopian future where crime has skyrocketed, it means there's no shortage of contestants, the most prominent of which is Statham's Jensen Garner Ames.
What would you do with your freedom? Go back to your daughter?
That's the idea.
Of course, for as much vehicle-based action as there is here, one thing you won't see is Statham taking part in any martial arts fighting. And the reason for that is he felt it would make his character too similar to the one he'd played previously in The Transporter. So instead, audiences would have to settle for a lot of fast-paced racing.
There's someone I need to kill.
Number 9. Homefront.
Hey, what, huh? Hey, what, you want to say something? You want to say something to me?
I would just let them leave you, brother.
While he may be a native Englishman, Jason Statham is no stranger to playing a more all-American style hero whenever the script calls for it. In fact, that's exactly what he did for one of his most underrated films, 2013's Homefront. And that's because here, he plays the role of Phil Broker, a former DEA agent who, after finishing up a particularly difficult case, decides to leave the force altogether. So, taking his daughter with him then, he moves down to Louisiana in search of a new life. Unfortunately for him though, once he gets there, old ghosts quickly come back to haunt him and draw him back into the criminal underworld. Originally though, this film was supposed to serve as the fourth installment in the Rambo series, but after development stalled and Sylvester Stallone moved on to other things, the script would sit in limbo for years until Statham was able to get things reworked so that his character could replace Sly's. Number 8. The Mechanic.
You're a goddamn machine. You view people differently than I do, differently than anybody does.
It might not have quite the same level of cult success that the likes of The Crank and The Transporter do, but 2011's The Mechanic is equally as fun as either of these on account of its wild 80s style action. What's the story with this one though? Well, in a remake of the 1972 film of the same name, Jason Statham plays Arthur Bishop, a hitman who undertakes a number of jobs over the course of the 93-minute runtime. But it's not just killing targets he has to worry about. No, he also has to deal with training the son of his former mentor, too.
What I do requires a certain mindset. Revenge is an emotion that can get you killed, so no more stupid stunts like the other night.
Of course, as his trainee soon learns, being an effective assassin is all about paying attention to the details, and apparently, the director took this to heart as, in one scene late on in the film, security camera footage of Bishop at a gas station shows the date as being January 28, 2011. Why is this significant? Well, it was the date the film was theatrically released. Number 7. The Fate of the Furious.
I'm here for Cypher.
You gonna apply for a job, head asshole?
You know, I think that tight t-shirt's cutting off the circulation of your brain. You should get bigger size.
If there's one series which any modern-day action hero wants to be a part of, it's The Fast and the Furious. After all, with it telling the continuing tale of a ragtag group of car aficionados and occasional international heist experts, it's given us some of the most fun movies of the 21st century. Of course, by the time we get to the 8th installment, 2017's The Fate of the Furious, Jason Statham's character, Deckard Shaw, has already gone from villain to hero. And so that's why he's able to use all of his skills to help the crew take down cyber-terrorist Cypher here. But the real surprise is the chemistry between Shaw and Dwayne Johnson's Luke Hobbs. In fact, in a teaser of the spin-off the two would later have, one scene showed Statham breaking character and laughing when the former People's Champion delivered an insult involving a toothbrush going up his ass.
I'm gonna knock your teeth so far down your throat, you're gonna stick a toothbrush right up your ass to brush them.
Number 6. Safe. There's an old saying in Hollywood which goes, you should never work with children or animals. Well, obviously, no one told Jason Statham this because he manages to have one of his most fun performances to date alongside a preteen co-star in 2012's Safe. And he does this by playing the role of Luke Wright, an ex-cop and former cage fighter who finds himself having to protect an exceptionally gifted young girl from a series of enemies. Of course, this list of enemies includes not only the Russian Mafia and the Chinese triads though, but also corrupt members of the NYPD too. Still, he has a ball of a time anyway, and he's clearly very proud of what everyone on the cast and crew achieved here. And he's not the only one who's proud of the movie, because producer Lawrence Bender was so happy, he went as far as to give himself a cameo role as a bartender, handing Statham's character a fork in one scene.
You'll live.
Number 5. The Transporter.
Rule 3, never look in the package. Hope you enjoyed your pee, because it's your last on this trip.
It's up for debate which film served as the true breakout role for Jason Statham, but while some would argue for his early work with Guy Ritchie and others for his performance in Crank, many still consider the real answer to this to be 2002's The Transporter. And that's because, playing the role of Frank Martin, an exceptionally skilled driver for hire who transports anything and anyone for the right price, he gets to shine as the action hero he was always destined to be. Yes, whether it's high-paced car chases, martial arts brawls, or some of the most homoerotic moments seen on screen since Top Gun, everything about this one is just perfect popcorn fun.
I ask the questions, you answer the questions. Nothing more, nothing less.
Needless to say then, Statham goes all in here, not only performing most of his own stunts, but also learning how to hotwire a car for one scene. And when later asked how he felt about this newly developed skill, he would only reply that he wished he'd known how to do it back when he was 15. Number 4. Wrath of Man.
Try not to move too quickly. You're in a hospital. You were in an accident. You were shot at.
Given the fact that Jason Statham got his first big breakthrough thanks to his roles in Guy Ritchie films, it only made sense he'd return to working with the director eventually. And this meant when he was looking for someone to star in his 2021 heist thriller, Wrath of Man, he knew exactly who to call. But what's the story of this one? Well, Statham plays the role of Patrick Hill, a man who's just started a job as an armored truck guard, but who has more to his past than meets the eye. So as things progress, and we get to see more of his backstory unfold then, it gets very exciting very quickly. And as it happens, not only would this one mark a reunion between the star and the director, but also between the star and Scott Eastwood as well, as the two had worked together only 4 years prior on The Fate of the Furious.
I need to know who pulled the trigger. I need a face.
Number 3. Crank.
Well, I'll be at the downtown Lint in 20 minutes. You know the spot?
Yeah, I know it.
Well, don't be late. See you later, sunshine.
If you're a video game fan, you've probably asked the question at least once, why has there never been a Grand Theft Auto movie? Well, in truth, the answer to that question is there has, at least in spirit, as 2006's Crank is basically all the cartoon carnage you could ever expect from such a project. Yes, this one is silly in the best possible way, as it tells the story of Jason Statham's character, Chev Chelios, a man who has been injected with a deadly poison and so must keep his adrenaline at sky-high levels if he wants to live. Needless to say then, this leads to some absolutely ludicrous but very fun moments as he goes on a rampage throughout the city in hopes of finding the people responsible. And as it happened, Statham would insist on doing all of his own stunts for this role, including one scene where he drives a motorbike with no hands.
What the hell do you think you're doing? This is a hospital. Shut up.
Number 2. The Bank Job.
Your lights. Sorry.
Major Guy Singer, final member of our team.
By 2008, Jason Statham was already no stranger to starring in heist films. But make no mistake, his role in 2003's The Italian Job was almost nothing compared to the one in The Bank Job. And with this masterpiece being based on a true story, I promise you'll be hooked to the screen from start to finish. Yes, here we get to see a dramatized version of the 1971 Baker Street robbery, where the contents of a number of safety deposit boxes were stolen from a branch of Lloyd's Bank. And leading the charge during this robbery, of course, is none other than Statham's character, Terry Leather. But not everything about this recreation of the early 70s was accurate, as in one scene, we see Leather walking into a shop which has a Visa logo on the door. The only problem with this, however, is that Visa wasn't introduced in the UK until 1977.
What do you want?
Just a couple of things from what you stole.
Oh, we got his money and jewels.
And I suggest you look again.
Our number one pick is Snatch.
Taking too many disco biscuits in the heat of Russian disputations. He's got as many of these nuts as he has those nuts.
His first film role may have been in another Guy Ritchie hit, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, but for our money, the best of all Jason Statham's films is its spiritual sequel, 2000's Snatch. But why is that? Well, Statham plays the role of Turkish here, a local boxing promoter who gets caught up in a multi-character scheme which involves match fixing, robberies, and some very expensive diamonds. And in doing so, he gets to have a lot of fun as his often hapless hero watches on at the chaos unfolding around him. That said, Statham almost didn't get to play this particular role because originally Brad Pitt was cast as Turkish. When it became apparent he was unable to capture the Cockney accent, however, some switching around was done, and he ended up playing the character of Mickey O'Neill instead. Looking at the film's ratings, we find that Snatch received a good 8.2 out of 10 on IMDb.com, but a not-so-good 55 from Metacritic. As for Rotten Tomatoes, they'd be far more positive, with them giving it 74% on the tomato meter and 93% given by the audience.
What's a gun doing in your trousers?
For protection.
Protection from what? The Germans?
And there we have it, the top 10 Jason Statham movies of all time. No doubt you have your own list, so be sure to let us know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and get alerted of our next video. We'll hope to see you soon.